Hello, you're watching NewsX with me, Riya Dwivedi. Now, let's begin with some breaking news coming in now from United States. In a renewed push to acquire Greenland, US President Donald Trump has announced a 10% tariff on several European nations, including Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland. And according to Trump, the tariffs will continue unless these countries support the US plan to take over the Arctic island. These tariffs will be imposed from February 1st, and these tariffs are set to increase to 25% from June 1st. So major developments that are coming in. We have earlier seen that Donald Trump had threatened these tariff threats on countries that were not supporting his takeover plan over Greenland. We have seen several protests that have been taking place in Greenland as well, in terms of protests that are happening in Denmark, in Copenhagen, in terms of Greenland protests that were taking place in Copenhagen. And now joining me on the telecast is Arzu Seth. Arzu, take us through the details that are coming in terms of this tariff threat that has been imposed by Donald Trump. We have seen 10% tariff that he has imposed, and he is planning to impose 25% if they don't agree with his Greenland takeover plan.
Well, yes, hours after US President Donald Trump has threatened to impose the 10% tariff on Denmark and other European Union countries, and now, in fact, he has imposed it. And a US chief, stated tariff underline, transatlantic relations and a risk a dangerous downward spiral, and also has extended complete solidarity with Denmark and the people of the Greenland, and also, pushed for dialogue to resolve the disagreement between NATO allies. In fact, the EU stands in full solidarity with the Denmark and the people of the Greenland, and this is what she said in the X, and also the dialogue remain essential.
All right, Arzu, as you're talking about it, we have more updates that are coming in. Now, Donald Trump had imposed these tariffs in his Truth Social post. Additionally, he said, and I quote, "Now after centuries, it is time for Denmark to give back. World peace is at stake." He also remarked that Denmark currently has 2 dog sleds as protections. One added recently, Trump in this Truth Social post called the troop deployment of the European nations in Greenland as a threat to the planet. Arzu, when we're talking about these military personnel deployment as well, not just the tariff threat, we have seen that military personnel have been deployed by the European nations, when we're talking about France, when we're talking about the Danish army as well, when we're talking about the German army, they have been deployed in Greenland as well. So what are the updates that are coming in terms of the tariff threat as well as these military personnel that are being deployed?
Well, in the latest of the series of moves to acquire the Greenland, now the US President Donald Trump has announced the tariffs on the European and the NATO allies, despite having negotiated trade deals with the UK and the European Union in 2025. Also, the announcement which the President made on the Truth Social site applies to Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, and the Netherlands and Finland. Also, Mr. Trump said that the countries would pay a 10% tariff on their export to the US starting February 1st. The rate would go up to 25% from June 2026. So once again, he threatened of the higher tariff, and also 10% tariff has already been imposed, and this tariff will be due and payable until such time as the deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of the Greenland. So definitely he mentioned that also. And also, if we talk about the last week, the countries in question sent a handful of troops to Greenland at Denmark's request in the face of accelerating threats from the, Donald Trump, and even Mr. Trump also alluded in his post, Greenland, a mineral-rich, Arctic island, is a self-governing territory of Denmark, which is the member of the NATO allies. Also, now the military actions is also being seen. The military deployment is also seen. So definitely the things are not getting sorted, but also, the tension is increasing day by day. Yes.
All right, Arzu, stay on with me. We have more